Morning, it's Tuesday, hot day on the way. We're going all the way up to almost 90 degrees, up into the upper 80s again. And we're going to get to Tanya Powers coming up in a second. That interesting story out of New Jersey. They say you can't, and we had calls during Sheriff Mayshall last hour. People saying, why not talk about the fact that, we're pushing texting. It's still illegal to talk on your phone while you're driving down the road.
Right.
But you can do the hands-free.
Right. Texting, I feel as much because you look down and you're looking for letters and typing as you go. It's once you hit the button to talk, I think it can be dangerous and distracting. But
you don't even have to hit the button to talk anymore.
That's true. You can do it right on your steering wheel,
or you can, like with Siri, hey Siri, call my wife,
right,
and it'll do that. There's a story in the OD today about the new iPhone. Coming out. They say that this is the last one before the big sweeping change. So next year, it'll be 10 years of the iPhone. Hard to believe. But this year, it looks like next month, some big changes. The button will be touch sensitive. So pressure sensitive. So how hard you push, you're going to have to learn how to use that. But I think the current phone already has that ability. Some ability there. The other thing is, do you know they're going to get rid of the headphone jack? So get ready to spend some money on new headphones for the iPhone because they're getting rid of the headphone jack. And that jack, by the way, has been a headphone jack for dozens of years. That's been I think since the 1960s. Maybe even earlier. Might even be earlier. Might even be into the 50s. The transistor radio, it's the what was that? It's the mini jack.
Yeah, but my only concern is that there's so many things that are still needed that jack is used for. Like, for instance, people use it with their squares. If they're a small business and they want to take credit cards, they have to put it into that.
Right, they're switching everything over to the either Bluetooth or the power check,
so that they can sell more.
I guess, Is this Tanya here on the line?
Yeah.
Good morning, Tanya Powers. Good morning.
Good morning. Okay, this headphone jack or lack thereof is this news is disturbing to me.
It is. It means once again to dip into your pocket because you're going to have to buy some stuff.
Can they just make a pair of headphones or earbuds that I won't lose?
Yeah, or I can't stand. I hate the iPhone earbuds because they tangle.
Yeah, that's true.
I can't stand the tangling thing. This is why
I should have put up like some sort of plaque in each campaign city that I traveled to this year.
I'll bet.
Because I left a pair of earbuds behind in some airport in most of them.
Somewhere out there, somebody has the earphones or the earbuds of Tanya J. Powers.
Multiple pairs,
yeah,
I'm
multiple
afraid.
pairs. Well, listen, I have kids for one reason, because I can throw them back in the back seat and say, could you please untangle this? That's why
they can do it, too.
Yeah, and they can do it. That's why I have kids. All right. Speaking of being distracted while driving, this New Jersey thing is interesting. What do you think?
Well, this is interesting. I think one of the most interesting parts of it is everybody is all up in arms because they're saying, oh, my goodness, this assemblyman wants to outlaw drinking coffee. I'm not going to be able to drink my coffee in my car, and people have just completely gone off the rails on that part.
Yeah.
I think the part that we're missing here is the fact that he did introduce this bill 7 months ago. He's yet to even bring it up for a vote in a committee he leads. So it hasn't gone anywhere yet. The idea of and before it was called the ham sandwich bill when it was introduced, and now it's the coffee bill. I don't know why. I guess over the last couple of days, people have resurrected it, and now they're still upset.
I took a limo ride to a Buffalo Bills game once. So from Central New York to Buffalo to Buffalo, it's about a 3.5-hour drive in a limo. And the limo driver, when we all got in, we're all bringing our stuff in our coolers and cocktails and whatever in the food. And the limo driver says, there's no eating and no drinking in the limo. So that's a long trip. Now, you're not driving, and we weren't allowed to eat or drink in the limousine. But even think about people who travel. That's just being able to have a coffee to keep you awake. I sometimes think that's more safe, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. I think there's a lot of people probably listening to this as they're on their way to work with their coffee and their cup holder thinking, man, I'd never make it to work.
Right.
When I drove and commuted to work that way, that is exactly what I would have to do every morning. I think he said that the outcry on this has filled up his inbox way more than when he came up with the idea to raise the gas tax by 25 cents.
Wow.
Yeah.
And now, on the other hand, first of all, I think we already have a law called distracted driving. So if you get distracted for whatever you're doing and you cause some sort of an accident, then you could be charged with distracted driving. But what is next? I see people reading a newspaper driving down the road, and the one that kills me, and I don't know if you see this in the city, but up here I see it all the time, people with their little dogs in their laps while they're driving down the road.
Well, I lived in a city that had it had public transportation, but it was nobody really ever used it when I was in Memphis, and so everybody drove all the time, everywhere. There was not a lot of walking. There was not a lot of public transportation at all. So, I would see that all the time.
Yeah. And to me, that is as much of a distraction as texting. I mean, what if the dog, who knows what the dog could do? But I guess they don't want that dog sitting, unleashed or something in the car. I don't get it.
I think they're worried about the dog getting into your coffee.
So you don't think this is going anywhere?
I don't know. I mean, like I said, he hasn't even brought it up for a vote yet.
Okay.
And introduced, but he has, however, brought up two other different bills in legislation in previous sessions before. He's brought up a couple of similar bills, so it seems like something that he's kind of got a bee in his bonnet about, but it hasn't really done a whole lot with it.
It's done one thing; it's gotten us to talk about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, Tanya. Thanks.
Thanks.
Tanya J. Powers, Fox News. Two stories that I thought were interesting. There's a guy in Washington that was just arrested or charged. He was arrested Monday morning after he nearly started a fire in his apartment building. There were cockroaches, so he took the cockroach killer and a Bic lighter and created his own flamethrower. But unfortunately, pretty much started the apartment on fire. And the other story is in western New York. Did you see in the Buffalo area? I was out there last week, and all the lawns are brown. Syracuse is pretty bad, too. The lawns are brown. They've not had any rain. No rain in over a month. So there's a pretty good-sized drought going on in western New York right now. And what apparently you might not know, and I guess I didn't know, is that rats really need water. Like all mammals, right, or rodents or whatever you want to talk about, we need water. But rats really need water. So what's happening is these houses, these very nice houses, are being infested with rats, and lots of rats. There was a story of one household, and they like your oriental ponds, like you have a little fish pond out in the back, or anywhere where there's a water supply, the rats are coming in. And this one woman said that they caught 9 rats out of their kitchen, and a very nice house, not a dirty house. The rats are trying to find water, and they're coming into the houses in Buffalo and in western New York. So beware of the rats during drought time. Hold on tight. We're going to talk concerning Donald Trump with John Zogby. Zogby Analytics coming up next. Quick break at WIBX.